state and now in his grandchildren. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, not only for your patience tonight, but as I mentioned when John Kasich was here, you know, the fact that we have so many people coming out in support to listen to these candidates is just a strong indication of the support we have, the commitment each one of you have. And as a candidate, it is very humbling to see so many people here and understand the opportunity that we have this fall to take back our county. Now, we all understood that opportunity last fall when we passed Issue 6. But I have to tell you, Issue 6 is the overnight sensation that took 20 years or more in the making. Because there are so many people, myself included, in 2008, that were pushing for Cuyahoga County reform. And that reform was because there was no mission, there was no vision, and there was no leadership for our county. And when that curtain got revealed 2 years ago today, we all understood why there was no mission, leadership, or vision. Because we had public officials padding their own pockets at taxpayers' expense. So finally we all rose up and said, enough. It's time to move on. Now I stand before you asking you to move on with me as the first county executive. Because I have a vision and a mission for this county. To have a government that we run with honesty and integrity, that will create a growing, thriving, and diverse population and economy, so that we all enjoy economic opportunities and we all enjoy economic freedoms. Because when our individual wealth rises, we all do better. And so how am I going to accomplish that? I'm going to go over 4 quick areas. First, we're going to run a government with honesty and integrity. Well, I stand before you as a former state representative. And those who are on the screening committee apparently had a question. I resigned my position in the State House when I realized I was going to run for a different public office. Because I didn't want you taxpayers paying a salary for an office that I wasn't concentrating on. And for those who on the screening committee question that, no, I did not have to resign. I could have continued to accept the taxpayers' dollars for a job I wasn't doing. We're going to lead this county with honesty, integrity, and it's going to start with me. And it's going to start on day 1, when I issue an executive order to all of our county employees to undergo ethics training. Not because we think all of them are corrupt, but because there will be no more excuses. If you don't understand what it means to serve the public under a Dolan administration, it's simple. You are gone. There will not be 200 FBI agents coming through the Cuyahoga County government door again. Two, we're going to create economic development. But the first thing we're going to do is restore the public-private relationship. Because it is not the government that creates a single job. It is government that helps create an atmosphere for job creation. It is government that must be responsive to the private sector and not an inhibitor of growth. You know, a good friend of mine once told me that in Northeastern Ohio, we rode the 60-year car industry for 100 years. And because government was stuck in the mud, we missed the wave, the next wave, the last 40 years, technology, aerospace. Well, I understand keeping your ground to the ear and being flexible and working with the private sector. And that's why I want to create Cuyahoga Forward, which will not be a part of government. We will hire an executive director who understands economic development and will be free from the restrictions of government, thus can be creative to work with our 57 different municipalities who each have an economic development, and a host of other well-intended, hard-working, nonprofit entities who promote economic development. But we don't have a single face. If you want to start a business here, you've got to make 16, 17 phone calls to find out about your financing options, your tax incentive, what real estate is available to you. Under my administration, you make one call. We're going to make the loudest and clear statement that we understand business and we are here to work for you and not the other way around. And guess what? If you look at other areas of the country that are growing, that's what they did. They understood the government must be a partner with the private sector and let the private sector take the lead. We can do that in Cuyahoga County. There was a question up here before about revenue sharing and regionalism. You know, folks, we are years away from a meaningful discussion there. We sit here today in our state, in our Northeast Ohio, we are third in the nation in the administrative cost of government. Your taxpayers go to pay for the delivery of services. That's got to end. The first thing we do is we get our own house in order in the county. And we make it an effective government. We institute performance audit, performance budget. That we get our contracts in order. And we use the bully pulpit of the county executive, not to be an extension of government power, to be a bully pulpit voice for you, the people, to point out that we have 59 municipalities, 34 school districts, and a host of other taxing entities, totaling 106 that tax you. And I'm going to use the bully pulpit to go after the faceless contracts of all of those government taxing entities and say, you better start working together because we're going to lower the cost of government. And the faceless contracts, do we care where they buy your pens, your salt, your computers? Yet as we look out today, we see one vendor with 43 different contracts with municipalities. We need to reduce that to one. Reduce taxpayer dollars. You know, all of this is going to take somebody with strength and courage. You know, I have 20 years of the practice of law. You know, I have served in the state legislature, which means I have experience with the state government, which is important. But it also means that I have stood for election in 3 Republican primaries, one of which I was contested, in 3 general elections. Folks, I am tested. People have issues in campaigns, and they get rough. And I have survived them and won 6 times. Let's talk a little politics. Don't kid yourself. We passed issue 6. It's wonderful. Do you think the Democrats are going to lay down and die now? They have nominated a guy, endorsed a guy who was the lead spokesman for issue 5, which was a loudest statement that said, hey, it's working for us. Don't change it. We like how it's going. That's who the Democrats nominated. Lillian Green, our county recorder, is suing to keep her job, despite the fact that the people overwhelmingly voted to eliminate her job. This will not be easy this fall. I didn't join this effort 6 weeks ago. I joined this effort in February. I put together a campaign infrastructure because I know how difficult this is going to be. I have raised money. I'm spending the money in the Republican primary now. Some of you have probably gotten your 3rd piece yet today. You're going to get more. Because what we need to do is put the strongest candidate up in November. A candidate who not only understands the political side of things, a candidate who can stand before you with an experience in the public sector, working in a bipartisan manner, an experience in the private sector, running several businesses, throughout family businesses, one of which I'm sure you guys all have a lot of opinions on. But it's that experience we move together. You know, I practiced law for 20 years. And at the end of a rather contentious matter, a lawyer came up to me and said, Matt, you're the nicest, meanest guy I ever met. Well, guess what? We do want stability in our public service. We need that. But it's going to take a tenacity, not just to win, but to lead. You're going to face entrenched interests that all of these well-qualified candidates talked about tonight, that for 30 years they protected the way they did it. They're not rolling over. I have faced them. I have faced you. I have done things that people didn't like. I have done things you have liked. But I've always done it what I thought was in the best interest of promoting individuals, of promoting freedom, promoting the private sector, and promoting the idea that we all rise together when we as individuals succeed. That's the spirit I'm going to bring to this office. That's the tenacity I'm going to bring to this office. And tonight, I'd be honored if I had your support and got your endorsement. And together, I am preparing to win in September. I am preparing to win in November. And I am ready to lead in January. Thank you for your support tonight. Thank you for your time for all the candidates. And let's get it done this November.